and we are starting to train our brain. And within 12 weeks, we are going to be feeling better and achieving things that we didn't know we could do. Because this is the thing that's happening in our brain, we have something called neuroplasticity. So we can actually change our brain with our thoughts and the habits that we develop. It's a wonderful gift that we have. We just have to know how to do it, and we can become healthier. We can be open to the possibility of joy. Um, we are built with this wonderful part, this part of our brain, and that is ancient and kind of like a dinosaur, and it's constantly looking for anything that could cause us danger because our subconscious mind is only trying to keep us alive. But that means that we self-sabotage ourselves from things that we can do. So we're going to do a few questions that I want you to answer, and it's important you don't think about them real much before you do answer them, because these are the things that we're going to work on. We're going to work on finding out what we really want, and that's a hard thing. That's always a hard thing for people to do, is to say what they really want. But the reason we need to do that is, now just a second, I dropped something there. Okay, the reason we want to do that is because we can't create something if we don't know what we want to create. So, health is made up of a few basic things. First of all, 85 to 93% of all doctor visits, of all illnesses, come from stress. And that's man made. We create that stress by what our perceptions are. It's not what people do to us or what is going on out there, it's how we perceive it. Life is kind of like a kaleidoscope. And so we can tip the kaleidoscope a little bit and see life in a different way. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to change the way we look at things, because not only do we have neuroplasticity, we have something like neuroimmunology that takes care of our immune system. There's one that takes care of our endocrine system. And it's our thoughts that are going to change so many things. But our thoughts change our actions, our habits. So we know of every longevity thing that you look at, the number one thing is no smoking. Okay. Then sleep. Very, very important. Sleep. And it isn't anything about sleep that is unusual. The biggest thing is consistency, to go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time. We should be having 7 to 9 hours of sleep as adults, as seniors. And I think that I'm talking to mostly seniors. And so that's important. It's important how we eat, what foods we eat. And we'll talk about all of those things. The big thing is we want to have healthy brains, because the healthier our brain is, the less that we have anxiety, the less that we have all of the different illnesses, these chronic illnesses. So to do all those things, we have to know what we want. So I have some questions that's been made that I have kept from a class that I took. And I want you to imagine that there's a very wise person. It's like in a genie's cave. And we go there and there's the bottle and we can rub the bottle and find out all these good things. Because that's a thing that it's inside of you. Your higher consciousness knows these answers. So the purpose of life is to answer the questions and become who you can be. So we'll start with this moment. What do you really want? Now, write down what you really want just off the top of your head. Don't question it all. Just what do you think you would like? What would make you happy? This one. What do you need? What do you need right now? to feel better, to be happy. What is your greatest fear? We don't like to go there. We don't like to go to the shadows of life, but we need to know what it is we fear, because if we don't look at what it is we fear, how are we going to change that? What is it that you fear? Maybe 3 things that you fear. I want you to really think about that. What do you need to be happy? What is your greatest talent? What is your biggest obstacle? Is it at that fear? Or is it that you don't see your talent, or it's hidden? How are you your worst enemy? What part of your life are you the most satisfied with? What are you really grateful for? And what is missing in your life? What would you like to see changed in the next year? That's it. That's all I want you to think about, is those things, and start to write them down. I'm going to read it one more time and let you uh, think about them as you write it down. Um, Sometimes a greatest fear is, would you have enough money? How will you be happy? Things like that. But that's not really what I'm looking for here so much. I'm looking for really what's deep down of, what do you need to be happy? What is your greatest strength, your talent? What is the obstacle that's holding you back? What is it that is holding you from being who you could be? How are you your worst enemy? How are you self-sabotaging? What part of your life are you the most satisfied with? What's missing from your life? And what would you like to change? What are the three things, the one thing that you're the most afraid of? Because once we know these things, then we can change. Then we can start to really make a difference in our life, because there are things we can do to make things different. The number one thing that we want to make really sure of is that we keep our brain from shrinking. We want to keep our brain from moving, from going downhill. We want to stay open. There's 2 ways that you can live your life. You can live with a growth mindset, or you can live with a fixed mindset. Now, a fixed mindset wants nothing to change, which is an impossibility because things are changing every second. A growth mindset always thinks that they're going to be able to deal with it. They think that they are loved by the universe, by God, whatever it is that you see yourself as a part of. So they are constantly looking that direction. They're constantly thinking that life can be better. So that if they have found out that if you take care of this prefrontal cortex, if you take care of your brain, that you have, if you have discipline to take care of brain. I'm not talking willpower, because willpower is only lasts for short periods of time. But if you make habits to take care of your brain, you're 89% less likely to get Alzheimer's, because that is a part of the prefrontal cortex, is our habits, our thinking brain. It's only about 10%, but it is our thinking brain. Now, the thing that I'd like you to think about is a survivor. What are the characteristics of a survivor? A person that does have this growth mindset. They have a strong spiritual belief. I'm not talking about going to church, or you go to church. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you having a spiritual belief that you believe there's something better out there, that there's something in control of life, that there's something that loves you, that the universe is moving as it's meant to move, that you have a strong support system, that you're connected to others, that there's somebody you could call if you are really sad, a sense of humor, because all the chaos in life, you might as well see the humor in it, a connection to nature. Every study that's coming out on longevity agrees that nature is healing. You need goals and purpose to work towards. This is why we did these questions. We want to know what you can create as a purpose for your life, what you can create as a goal. What are people going to look back at you? What are the words you want people to say when your life is at an end? What have you left? What is your legacy? Have you helped people? Have you made the world better, even just a tiny bit better, from when you were born till when you die? That's important. That's what survivors do. They have good nutrition, regular exercise, regular sleep, and they're open. They're open because they have a growth mindset. So those are things that we are going to be working on. We're going to be working on those all the time. Now, some of the ways that we can protect our brain is making sure that we always have water, because our brain is about 80% water. It's water and it's fat. So we need omega-3s and we need water. So that's going to help us, protect that prefrontal cortex. But there are other things like mindfulness, where you look to what is happening right now, not what has happened in the past, not what's going to happen in the future, other than your goal of maybe being healthier, maybe being stronger, maybe feeling like your brain is coming up with thoughts and ways to help more, things like that. You want balance. You want to move your body. So some of the things that I'm going to give you something each time to be able to do that. Now, we're talking about, I just said that that your brain needs water and omega-3s, 6, whatever, to stay healthy. That's because it wants something called DEHA, which creates this covering for your neurons, and it protects them, and it makes the little synapse work better. So we want more of that. Now, these are the ways you can do it. You can do it with stress reduction, and that's one of the major ways we are going to be working on, because you probably know that I've been a hypnotist for almost 50 years, but I'm also a stress management instructor from a wonderful group in Colorado. And so it's something that I really believe in, and I want to share with you. Meditation. I don't know if you're all meditators. If you can let me know, just message me. I will help you with ways to meditate. Maybe self-hypnosis. They're very similar. Self-hypnosis is more like a working meditation. You have an idea of what you want, and you're working towards that, where meditation is you're kind of clearing your mind. But they're very, very similar. Yoga, another thing that creates more. DEHA. Sleep. When we're in a deep sleep, we actually grow our brain. Exercise. And we're not talking running out and joining a marathon or something like that. We're talking moderate exercise, because high intensity exercise actually increase cortisol, and that will suppress the DEHA. So we're just talking moderate. We're talking about walking, swimming, strength exercises, uh, the yoga, Tai Chi, muscle resistance, a nutrient rich diet. For personally, I am using the Mind Diet. And if you're interested, again, I will share more about that with you. But it's full of lean fat, lean protein, zinc, magnesium, omega 3s, uh, then as little as possible of processed food or sugar. Deep breathing will increase the DEHA, and hobbies, reading, music, um, any kind of a hobby that puts you into that zone, it's going to increase. Now, I want you to know, oh, another one of the things is being kind to yourself. You know, we learn all the time about being kind to others, but we're not always kind to ourselves. So try to be kind to yourself. Do something nice for you. Be grateful. Those all reduce stress. Connect to people, relatives, family, friends. Find your purpose. That is the biggie, and that's what we're working on. That's what, when you start answering those questions, that's what you're working on. Keep learning, because you want a lot of reserve, cognitive reserve, and mostly have a positive attitude and laugh. Laugh as much as you can. Now, I want to tell you one more thing about stress management that everybody can make. Now, you can make this any way you want. You can use any kind of bag. I have this gorgeous bag that I was gifted by my friend, and it's beautiful. And so that is my stress bag. And what you want to do is you want to use every one of your senses. Every sense. So, taste. I have dark chocolate and at least 55% cocoa. For me, it's important too that it's part of the Rainforest Alliance, so that people that are actually working to protect the rainforest, they're getting the money and they're making this. But you want it to not have when you look at what's in it, that's the important thing. You want the dark chocolate. Then that is my taste. My visual is something my grandson gave me when he was little, because he used to say when he couldn't find something or an answer, he'd say, maybe we should call Ma. And then one time he gave me this and he said, I think this is like you. So this is very important to me. This is my little action figure that someone in the world at one point, now he's 13 and he might not feel the same way, but at one time he thought I was Superwoman. So that is an important piece. I have oils to smell, and lemon has been tested and found to actually increase your mind's abilities. They've diffused lemon while children were taking a test, and the people that used lemon were in the room with the diffusion of lemon had higher scores. I like jasmine. Jasmine, and maybe because I have a desire to get a jasmine plant. But jasmine, when I smell it, it feels like potential. It feels like the future to me. It feels good. So I like to keep that one. And vanilla, I rub this on if I'm feeling any stress, because vanilla has proven to reduce stress. And that's what my little bag is. For touch, I have a couple different things. I have this piece of deer hide, and deer is always telling me not to judge, to let everyone grow at their own rate. And so that is one of my things. Um, I have this little worry thing that says love that you can put your thumb on. Remember those worry stones? That's in there. I have these little stress balls. I'm working, my goal before I die is to be able to juggle. So I have one that I'd say keep calm, relax, and keep smiling. And yes, I can do it, and don't give up. I never know which one is more important to me that day. I have a little dinosaur for when I'm afraid, and I remember it isn't meaning that what I'm afraid of is really happening. It's the fact that it's an illusion, that my amygdala back here, that its whole job is to show me any danger anywhere. It's just seeing it. But your subconscious is works like about a 7-year old. So I have skills that that 7-year old doesn't know. I have two other ones. I have a fairy fairy stone cross that is almost magical to me. It's you can only get them in one place in South Carolina, and I got it at my nephew's wedding at a store in South Carolina, and I lost it, and I was feeling horribly sad, and I lost it in the summer. This is the important part. I lost it in the summer. I was very sad, and I looked everywhere. I thought, well, maybe it's in my fairy garden. Where is it? I clean my house behind um, bookshelves and things like that. Could not find it, and it was just like it's gone. And I tried to order them everywhere, and I couldn't find it. When I opened the Christmas boxes, now keep in remembering that I lost it in the summer. When I opened the Christmas boxes, it was with my snowman. It reminds me that miracles are everywhere, that everything is not exactly how it appears to be. And so I have this little thing with 3 dandelions in, ones that you blow to get your wish. And I have it there to remind me that I can wish for things. I can wish for them, and they can happen. I believe they can happen. I believe if I do my work, if I use the affirmations, if I visualize, if I do the things like eating right and not smoking and drinking very little and drinking a lot of water and maybe tea and doing the exercises, doing mental, physical, emotional, every piece, I can feel the way I want to feel. So that's today. That's what we're working on. I'm hoping that you want to go on this journey with me, and I can promise you that you will feel different when we're done. And I also want to tell you to please write down a number right now. If you can imagine how you want to feel, that's a 10. How do you feel at this moment? Do you feel 8? Do you feel 2? Do you feel 5? Make a note of that, because we need to have something that we can have some substance when at the end of this time period that we're working on it, that we can really see how we've changed. Because as humans, we tend to forget where we were in the first place. So I hope that you will share with me. Go to send me a message and let me know how you like it. And if you're going to join me, and we will do our best. I'm still learning technology wise, so hopefully this is all going to work out fine. But I think we've got it figured out. Okay, so have a good week. Bye bye.